Laura Diaz, Harold Green, Byron Miranda with weather, and Jim Hill on sports. You're watching CBS 2 News at 11.
Last July, Santa Monica, an elderly driver plows through the farmer's market. The crash killed 10 people, changed dozens of lives, and for one witness, triggered an emotional avalanche. The crash unleashed decades of repressed memories for that witness, a veteran of the First Gulf War, and he found himself suffering post-traumatic stress. In tonight's special assignment, CBS News' Linda Alvarez shows us one way the illness is diagnosed and treated.
Post-traumatic stress is not always caused by war. It can be the result of several traumatic incidents that pile up. I met a seemingly strong and healthy young man who served in the First Gulf War, but it wasn't until a tragic accident this year that his symptoms of post-traumatic stress surfaced. The sea is calming for Stephen Carey. Here, the crashing waves help him forget about how he's faced violence and death several times. As a child, as a young Marine, and even as recently as 5 months ago, just a few blocks away, one terrible day in Santa Monica.
An unknown number of people, as you know.
It was the day a driver sped through the farmer's market and killed 10 people.
It happened so fast. You have no time to think about it, you just react.
Stephen can walk through the stalls of the market now and recall how he dove out of the way of the deadly car.
I remember thinking he was gonna run over my legs. He was gonna hit my legs.
Now he can talk about the overwhelming destruction and the death.
She was lying on the ground, really bad head injury and bleeding out.
He remembers how he tried to use skills he learned in the Marines to help the injured, and how one woman died in his arms.
With her, there was nothing I could do, and it's sad.
Stephen can talk about that traumatic day now, but it wasn't always so. After the tragedy, he went back to work at a nearby bicycle shop. But for days, he was unusually nervous, shaky, couldn't sleep, became withdrawn. And when he went back to the site of the tragedy...
I saw the memorial that they had already set up, and immediately that just brought back a flood of emotions, and I broke down.
Stephen was flooded with painful memories he had kept bottled up inside, some going back to his childhood.
He was violent and abusive to myself, my sisters, my mom.
An alcoholic father burned down their house and once dangled him over a bridge.
I was staring down 100 feet, afraid I was going to fall.
Stephen also faced death as a tank commander on one of the first units to cross the Kuwaiti border during Desert Storm.
I remember they were expecting like 50% casualties by the end of day one.
You thought you were going to die?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The overwhelming memories triggered by the farmer's market incident forced him to get help. Stephen came to the Amen Clinic for a brain scan.
If we look at these red areas, they're all working hard.
Dr. Daniel Amen is a psychiatrist and brain imaging specialist.
When we see people who've been traumatized, what we see is their brain works too hard. There are certain emotional centers in their brain that just appear like they're on fire.
Dr. Amen says Stephen's brain shows all the signs of post-traumatic stress disorder.
We need to get rid of all those triggers.
The treatment Dr. Amen prescribes is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. This is Stephen's first session with therapist Sarah Gilman. He follows a moving light, listens to alternating tones, feels impulses tap on his palms, all while he focuses on traumatic events in his past.
There were so many people that I couldn't help.
Okay, so it's a painful process for Stephen, as the therapist keeps him focused on his feelings.
Just sad. I wished I could have done more.
One memory stirs up another.
And where did your thoughts go?
I was just thinking about my uncle. I was a firefighter.
Gilman listens to Stephen's memory of his favorite uncle who died in a fire helping others and tries to guide Stephen to a better self-image.
Perhaps your strong reactions and your fast pace helped as many people as you could help. Are those characteristics you share with your uncle?
As Stephen hears her positive words, the EMDR stimulates both hemispheres of his brain and helps his nervous system reorganize his memories.
And when you activate the area of the brain where the information is stored, then you can begin to move that information to a part of the brain that is more efficient in terms of its storage, so it won't produce then the negative consequences or symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
Even after the first session, the brain scan shows an improvement. And after the 6th session,
I'm definitely not as shaky.
Physically and emotionally, Stephen is functioning better. After EMDR, revisiting the past no longer brings on the same symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
I realize that there's a lot of things that I've carried along with me from the past that now I was able to let go of and put them where they should be, which is in the past.
Stephen is doing much better now, but does plan to continue with counseling. EMDR is one of many treatments used for post-traumatic stress. I'm Linda Alvarez for Special Assignment.